Once upon a time, in the mystical land of Moonbeam, lived a baby dragon named Yowler. It takes a lot of magic. Movie magic to create a dragon.
The design of the dragon came from several different directions. One was Andrea von Schally, who basically designed it on paper. And then Mark Rappaport came along and kind of helped her in designing it in a way that it would work mechanically for us. And then David Allen kind of came in and gave us some of his input too. And basically all of us working together, and then Andrea really sculpting the thing. We came up with a thing that was basically a classical dragon, but with a more loving, feminine touch, I think.
Well, I designed him and the baby dragon for this movie. I always try to do something that's different than anything I've seen. You think back about what you remember and what you've seen and come up with your own version of it. That's what I do. And it's a lot of fun. The stop motion model was the first one that I started, and from that they took measurements and scaled it up 6 times larger.
And yell!
Once the design was complete, sculpting began.
The first step of any sculpture is the armature, and the armature for this was gigantic because it's so heavy with all the clay on there that they spent many days working with huge pieces of steel pipe and rod and welding this thing together first. Then they're going to make a mold, a copy of it, a foam casting, and they have to paint it. And then after that, to bring it to life.
Yowler's growth from baby to fire breather requires several dragon versions.
We came to England with 2 dragons in crates. One being the baby dragon, which was about 4 feet tall, and fully cable operable, and basically had hand movement, leg movement, and full facial articulation that really gave him life.
With Baby Yowler, what we've done is we made him a complicated cable puppet and a radio-controlled head. And the cables for these puppets act very similar to muscles. Puppeteers are 10 to 15 feet away from this puppet. There's 5 or 6 of them. What they're doing is that the movement that comes through the wing, they're actuating with their arms. So they make this movement, which is their muscles making that movement. The cable, which acts as the muscles for the puppet, does the same thing in the puppet's arm.
Look what I found!
On the radio-controlled part of this, we go to your hobby store and we pick up what looks to be a regular radio-controlled transmitter, but we change it internally to make it work for us. So we get a lot of different motion. And that motion allows us to give a back and forth movement on eyebrows, which we combine with the lids moving up and down, lower and upper. The eyes move 4 ways, up, down, left, and right. And we have nostril movements, we have mouth movements, we have lip movements.
Can I keep him, Grandpa, please?
Different Yowlers serve different functions.
We also had just kind of an empty foam puppet version of him for the scene where Johnny tackles the dragon.
Cut. Excellent.
And then shortly after the baby dragon arrived, in a much larger crate and in several different crates, came the big dragon, which was basically the head of the dragon and a length of its neck with all of its framework and articulation and cable controls, so that we could do scenes where we had the people in close proximity with the dragon and actually there talking to the dragon.
Yowler was also created using stop-motion animation and digital computer animation.
We started out thinking the movie was going to be done fully with stop-motion animation and our puppetry that we did on the set. And then after Jurassic Park came out and everyone began to see what was possible using computer-generated imagery, we decided that we'd give it a chance too on some of the scenes that we couldn't really do justice to by traditional stop-motion animation.
Using both techniques requires special shots on the set.
You're dealing with the very technical demands of shooting background plates, and each plate becomes like several hours of setting it up and very precisely.
Action!
Luckily for us, we had Chris Endicott along with us, and Chris was our special effects supervisor for the optical effects. And so Chris was with us at all times going, this is possible, that's not possible, you got to do this. Please, Ted, don't do that because it'll be impossible later.
Could be good. That looks good.
Now the wonderful wizardry of digital effects are created by Randall William Cook.
In order to animate something digitally, what you have to do is you have to build it digitally in a wireframe form. Since the dragon was built already for other scenes in the film, we just took that sculpture and had it scanned in.
Oh, yeah, get up, boy.
What we have here is the first part of the animation of John and Beth Escape. And when you first look at it to review it, it looks like this. This can be viewed backwards or forwards, and you can step it a little bit at a time. And you look at this to quickly preview the kind of motion you've got and to see if you've got it right. If you like it, you go back and make final adjustments. Then, when you've got the animation a little farther along, you render it out at a higher resolution that shows the actual creature's body and not just the wireframe. And it looks more complete.
Digital effects artist Michael Hoover determines Yowler's exact look.
The dragon is actually, when he came from the digital scan-in people, was bone white and smooth, completely uninteresting. Really looked like a marble statue. We have 10 texture maps and bump maps for the dragon. The software allows us to position a projector wherever we want and shine our image right onto the side of the model, and it stays there. So when the model moves, that image moves with it.
Having a dragon as a co-star made some interesting demands on the actors.
You find some actors are a little bit better at pretending than others in terms of seeing something in front of them that's not there. We had a thing we called the monster stick, which was this big, tall stick with a little cutout where the dragon's head would be, and so Chris Endicott would always be there kind of like maneuvering the stick around the set so that people would have a common eye line for their reactions. It's really a matter of you just do whatever you can do on the set to try to imagine what it's going to be like to see this 20-foot tall dragon in front of you and then just bring it out of everybody. Cortland Meade was a real joy to work with. With him working with the dragon, all he needed to do was to see the puppet of the baby dragon, and the minute he saw that, he understood exactly what was going to be happening and exactly what his relationship was with the dragon.
Gotcha. It's kind of cute.
Yowler may be an amazing compilation of special effects, but to the actors, he's very real.
He's 19 feet tall, and he literally slobbers down my neck.
Actually, you know what? I've come to the conclusion that we all want the dragon to be real. Because we love the dragon so much, we want the dragon to love us back.
But I'll tell you, he's a joy to be with. He's a joy. I can't say any more. A real joy.
When I first saw the dragon, it was alive. It was fantastic. I was delighted and surprised at how wonderful he looks. Reading the script, I had a very vivid picture of him myself. It's very nice to be able to act with something as animated as that.
Really working with the dragon, which is amazing. I've never done that before. That's quite interesting.
It's wonderful.
It is great.
Absolutely marvelous. It's magic.
Thank you, Yola, for bringing happiness to my boy.
Even royalty has fallen head over heels for Yowler. The Duke of Rutland, owner of Hayden Hall, Yowler's castle, tries his hand as a puppeteer.
I understand you've done this before, Your Grace.
I've done it before in Bakewell on the old small dragon, which is magnificent too.
Here go the ears.
Very clever. Oh yes, that's small, isn't it?
What are his ears doing?
It seems that Yowler and Dragonworld have found their way into everybody's hearts. We hope that yours is one of them.